we're on to our next speaker, and this is Judy Cohen from Kent Business School as well. We have two people from Kent Business School today, so we're very lucky. And Judy's going to talk about Ombea for formative assessment. And so over to you, Judy.
There we go. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Fabulous. Okay, so I just wanted to, I better get back to the, where are we at? Okay, so it's Ombea and quizzes, and I've managed to link them in a way in the module, but I thought perhaps I'd better just talk about what the problem is with the module. And I kind of felt a little bit for Penelope, because I think my module sounds a little bit similar to Penelope's in that it's accounting for non-specialists, and I collect all the students from KBS who haven't actually enrolled in an accounting program. So basically these students have signed up for a qualitative type of program, management, marketing and international business, and they suddenly find themselves grappling with debits and credits and financial ratios. So you can imagine they don't particularly like it. They can't see the point of it for their degree. Because they don't like it, it's scored really badly on module evaluation. And that was at the point when I took it over. So I thought I would try and turn the lectures into more of a workshop type of thing, although there are 360 students. But so that was why I put the lectures into being 2 hours. And the plan was to give about 15 or 20 minutes worth of delivery, followed by a few Ombea quizzes in the PowerPoint in order to check their understanding. So these would either be fairly straightforward multiple choice, or they would be a true false, just to test the kind of concept that I'd been talking about for the 20 minutes. And that actually worked quite well. This was in January when this started, and it was good that I'd started off with using Ombea and actual webinars, because when the uni closed back in March, my webinars actually continued the same as ever. So each topic, the first 6 topics, had a series of Ombea questions, and these Ombea questions I actually added into the question bank, which was used for their online multiple choice test. So there's kind of 2 aspects of this. Ombea was used within the lecture to just try and get a bit more engagement with the lecture, so that if they didn't understand a concept, I could go over it more in the lectures, and also to break up the delivery, because accounting can be fairly dry if you don't kind of liven it up or, you know, give them an opportunity to talk to each other. So that was the point of the Ombea. And then by linking it to their actual online assessed quiz, I was hoping that it might help to engage their attention with the lectures, and actually also to improve their performance on the actual assessed quiz. So the next part of this is about how I set up the Moodle quizzes. And I'd have to say that the quizzes were really good, and I'm not sure if I would have got them set up properly if Phil and I hadn't spent quite a bit of time looking at how the tagging works and all the rest of it. So Ombea, I think, was great. And then linking this to the assessed module quiz, in the actual Moodle quiz that I inherited, there was an existing question bank of 40 questions, some of which were wrong. So I had to go through and just double check that all the questions were actually correct. And from this question bank, I tagged these as being moderate so that I could separate them from the quiz questions which were added into the bank, which I tagged easy. Mainly I tagged them easy because the students had already seen them before, and I wanted to be able to distinguish the questions that they hadn't seen from the questions that they had seen. And it turned out there were 39 of these additional questions from lectures. So that gave me quite a large question bank to work from. And these were randomized. 20 questions of these went into the question bank. So the actual quiz that they had to answer in the online assessment was 40 questions, 20 of which were from this moderate group, which they hadn't seen before, and 20 of which covered these topics, which they had seen before. So the answers are randomized. That means that the A to D selection is randomized. But the way of getting Moodle to select 20 questions here and 20 questions here was a bit of an art. So this is what I wanted to point out. So this will be of interest to anyone who wants to start using Moodle quizzes. So in order to be able to select from the easy or moderate questions, you have to actually fix that question will be selected from the easy group. And then the next question, I would alternate with one from the moderate group. So this question here, which is tagged moderate, that would be randomly picked from the moderate questions. And these would be randomly selected from the easy questions. So the questions themselves don't shuffle because you have to have this fixed of the easy, moderate, easy, moderate. If it's shuffled, you might end up with a bunch of moderate questions followed by a couple of easy ones. But the answers are within the question, the answers are shuffled, okay? And it's the randomized selection from the two question banks. So that's the actual fixed assessed quiz. But then I also had a practice quiz. So in order to give them some practice, I had a few questions. I think there's about 15 or 20. And these ones are actually shuffled questions from within the topic, but they only get, I think, 2 goes at this. So they can't get through all of the topic 2 questions because they only get 2 goes at it. So
3 minutes left, Judy.
Is that it? Sorry, Phil?
3 minutes left.
Okay, I'm just about done. So the questions are sort of randomized, sort of selected. And that's basically the students really loved Ombea. And when I stopped using it after topic 6, they all wanted me to put it back into the session. So I'm going to add it. The other thing that they wanted to have the Ombea questions as a separate formative thing in the in Moodle because they didn't want to wade through the lecture to find the Ombea quizzes. And so for the next iteration, they also hated 2-hour lectures. So I've gone back to single-hour lectures and I'm going to add in a little bit more access to them for the formative quizzes. And that's basically it, Phil.
Thank you so much, Judy. Thank you very much. Steve, do we have any questions on Judy's presentation?
Yes. Mike Wald's come with one with the randomization of questions. Oh, sorry, my thing's just pinged up. If you're doing the same quiz, is there a danger that the randomization will pick the same question twice?
That would have to be a Moodle question. I mean, there's quite a lot within each topic. There's quite a lot of questions, and they only get 2 chances at it. So because the topics are fixed, I don't think that it's likely to come up, but it doesn't really matter if it does because it's only the practice one. In terms in terms of the actual assessed quiz, the question banks are quite large, so I doubt that they would crop up twice. Plus the answers are randomized, so they can't just remember that B is the right answer to something, and they can't share the answers. Cool.
I think Penelope's got a hand up at the moment.
Yes. Hi, Judy. Thank you very much. I just would like to ask, if you release for the quiz, do you release the answers immediately, or do you wait for them, for the whole cohort to finish?
For the assessed quiz, they don't get the answers, I don't think. Do they, Phil?
The way you set it up was that they would get the results after the closing date had, the quiz date had passed. They wouldn't receive any feedback during the quiz.
That's the assessed quiz.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the this is why I didn't actually.
Okay. Thank you.
I didn't give them too much free access to the formative quiz, mainly because a lot of the questions will crop up in the actual quiz, and I thought, oh, you know, I don't want to give them too much help. But then they did actually say that they wanted access to a formative quiz, and I'm going to set that up as a separate Moodle quiz for the topics. And I'm now just wondering how much feedback to give them, and how many questions to allow them, and how many attempts. But then you think these are stage 1, and the whole purpose of the formative quiz is for them to learn the material. So if they want to go through it 5 times and actually learn the quiz questions, is that a problem? Because only half of the quiz questions will reappear in the assessment. So then I think it boils down to, are we trying to gatekeep, or are we actually trying to get them to learn the material? So, you know, I'm still thinking about that one.
Yeah, thanks, Judy. What I will say is, just before we kind of move on to the next speaker, that Judy's module, I don't think she's done it justice really, is a huge module. And I think we've been looking in the past at the way students have been engaging with lecture recordings and things like that we put online. And this is before the lockdown period. And what we did then is moving over to kind of using Ombea in kind of live stream lectures. The engagement in the lectures just went up incredibly. It was literally overnight, as soon as the students knew what was going on and that they were going to be kind of receiving these formative quizzes during the lecture, it kind of transformed the lectures. And I think it's testament to the work that Judy's put into creating all of these quizzes. So yeah, well done, Judy. I just wanted to say it like a personal well done, because I think you've done really well. So yeah,
thanks.